Hello and welcome to hopefully a new series. It's going to be very coding based, so if that's not something of your desire, disregard it. Videos of gameplay will come up soon. So we're gonna basically remake this guy. It's a portable app. You can find it in the description where to install it. The great thing about it is it doesn't require like actual installation. Once you have it on like a USB, you can plug it into any device that's Windows and it will run. We might not add that feature, but what we want is the ability to just have it, like remake it. There we go. So, first things first, whenever you have a new project is, I recommend using some sort of version control. GitHub is a very popular one. I personally use Git Lab. It has a lot of the same benefits GitHub has, except you can make private without having to pay or being a student. So that is really nice. That's what I do with a lot of my projects. First things first, we need to name it. I think timer would be a great name. Project, example, I think this is called the cooking timer or cook timer, and create project. So now it created an empty project for us, and I'm going to show you all the little tricks to transfer the project from starting idea all the way to final product. So now that we got the website and we want this to be HTTPS, we got the address so that we can link it up to the cloud. Now we get something along the lines of Git. I personally use GitHub Desktop for Windows. I like it. It's really nice in the GUI aspect and not having to remember every little code to do everything. There is some downsides though. Every now and then you'll run into an issue that you just can't do with the GUI and you'll have to drop down to that terminal. But regularly the GUI handles it pretty well. So next thing, we go up to File, Clone Repository. So this is where using GitHub would be really nice because you could sign in and it would just update your repository in live time. But sadly we don't have that. So we also don't have an enterprise account, which is just a basically paid account for GitHub. So we're gonna have to do the URL. So luckily, Git Lab gives you a nice URL, so you just copy that and then go here, paste it. Another great thing is it already adds your local path, so you don't have to worry about that in any fashion. Hit clone, it's cloning your local path, and you're done. So now you're in master. I recommend not doing any real edits in master. So first edit we have to do is create a readme. So how I like setting up my readme is in a markdown language. You can Google the exact format for markdown languages, but I'll quickly show you like my steps. So first things first is I like having a header of what it is, so that if anyone wants to come back or wants to jump onto the project, they can know where this or what this project is and what's all going on. The second thing I like to add is the stage. This is mainly to help other developers when they're coming on go, okay, where is this project in its development? And right now we're just gonna put the stage as currently developing the UI. That's what I'm hoping to finish by the end of this video. And I like having need. Basically, if you're working either with the public or with a team of developers, telling them, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Luckily, we don't have a real need. I guess assistance in developing the UI. There we go. And who? So who is mainly not for who's working on it, but it's who your target audience is. And sadly, I don't really have one, so we're just gonna go E for everyone. Yeah, that's actually a really bad target audience because it's so wide and vague that you can kind of screw yourself over by giving yourself a lot more required things to do to make it for everyone. One great example is you're developing a UI. Well, if it's for everyone, you have to have an audio component for the blind because they might use it. So E for everyone is really bad for development. Then you want what? This is kind of just to quickly inform someone who's coming on what this thing is. And we're just gonna say a remake of the cooking or cook timer at some address. I'll put the address later because I don't have it off the top of my head. Ooh, too many enters. There you go. The next is created. This is more of a legal thing just to indicate, hey, when did this project get started? And that's just today's date. It's pretty simple. Okay. Release date. That's really not something you regularly put at the very beginning unless you're working with a group of people and have a end goal in mind, but in our case we're just gonna put rolling release. And what that basically means for now is once we complete the first one, our project should consistently be up to date. I don't plan us releasing more than one, so that's a decent one for now. Where this is just to answer where the project can be found. Regularly this isn't needed unless you're sending somebody your Git file for whatever reason, so that they know what Git program, what Git interface are you expecting to use. And the last one, why? And this is more just to tell people who are getting on board, why are you even doing this? And this is for a YouTube video on Legna's channel. So just to inform everyone, like, hey, why is this important? Why should I join on this team? A few other things that we're not going to add right now is you got getting started. It's the main header that tells a developer what they need to actually start developing, such as prerequisite. Regularly that is programs like language, whatever we're going to develop the graphic in, all that stuff. Then you want a common flow for use. Again, this is just telling, hey, anyone who is trying to pick it up and just play around with it, kind of test with it, these are the steps we regularly expect our customer to be using. And then there's a few other sections. One should be deployment. There you go. This is the steps and the requirements to actually build the exe to give to a customer. This is regularly not needed for a personal project, but this is good in the sense of if you have other people who are planning to like release for you or are working with you. This is a nice way to get every version you give out, be it you made or someone else made, give them all the same core aspect. So no one's like, oh, I didn't think the icon wasn't needed. So, and then finally, kind of like above, it's not the core flow of use, but it's you build for Windows or Linux or Mac, depending on how you want it. And that's basically our readme. So I'm just gonna save this and we're gonna check back on the website. I lied. We're not gonna check on the website because the website isn't gonna have anything. First things first is we need to actually say, hey, we've changed the file. You can update the website now. We're gonna say added readme.md, commit to master, boom. And now we can publish to the branch. And there we go. So now if we go to the website, we can see the readme file did get added. There's a few minor typos. We can quickly fix that. And now we can make another branch and actually start doing further development. Now Git and GitHub and Git Lab and all the Git products, there are many different philosophies on how to organize a project. I organize my project in every branch gets a developer. A developer can make sub-branches of theirs, but the branches that go into the master branch is developer. And a lot of people say, no, it should be features and all this other stuff. This is how I do it. If you don't like that, you can do it your own way. Just how I handle my projects, how I organize my methodology of adding and fixing things is this. So if we want to progress, that is how I'm going to progress. So hopefully you all understand and don't get mad at me. So let's fix the readme and let's make my branch. Okay, before I create my branch, I just kind of want to show you what I had to do to fix readme. Basically, you can't have the space in the markup language for bold, so quickly fixed it. Let me also explain how this works if you've never used Git or Git Lab or any of that stuff. So the red line is what was there, the green line is what has changed. Regularly it shows you the next few lines so that you can figure out where in that code or document where you are. It also shows you what files here so you know. Basically you just can say fix minor errors in readme.md and commit that to master. We can push that up to the website, and then we can finally go in here and create a new branch for myself. I actually like first names unless you have a lot of people who have the same name. So create. So now let's publish this branch and then I'll show you something cool. So the cool thing about GitLab and other Git sources is you get a lot of these options. It can do a lot of things. One I like is repository and graph. So right now it doesn't look anything too special. You see the 2 commits we made, but you see this line? As you split off from multiple people if you're working with them. Regularly, if you're working by yourself, you won't see a lot of split. But if you're working with multiple people, you will see a bunch of lines. This keeps you in tone with who's doing what. So like Ransom and Master right now are in parallel. They both have the same commit. So let's change some things and I'll come back. Okay, so I just want to show you all what I did. I believe I made this project public. If I didn't, I'll definitely go back and make it public so that you all can actually see every commit and get data if you all want, because there's nothing critical that I'm hiding from you all. The one thing I added is example codes, and the reason why I added that is I have a couple of files that are somewhat hard to get, but once you get them, I recommend keeping an example of them so that you can quickly access them. So I added them so that you all can quickly grab them instead of having to get everything. So let's get into development. Okay, so I opened up the example.ui file that I just committed, and Qt is what I use for my graphical program. I'm not a very fancy graphical person, so if you don't like that, you might have to change the file structure, but the general understanding of how to do development is what I'm really trying to help teach. So the great thing about this is it's a really nice drop down feature. So first things first is we're gonna just add the objects that we can see, these objects. And this is where you start doing little tricks like this. So this is a horizontal layout. So basically it forces the objects to go in a line horizontally. But if you go here and go to layout, you can do the same thing here. So boom, we don't need this extra part, which saves a little bit in code. So that's the only other downside with these layouts, is sometimes it's a little hard to squeeze them together. So this is just me being particular about the format. Most of the time you don't need to worry as much as I do. We should be able to take this and make it a horizontal layout and shrink it, and there we go. Now we save this, done, and we've basically made the GUI. It looks so similar, doesn't it? Look at that. Look like almost identical. Could be twins. Our buttons are a little not evenly spaced. There's ways you can do that and stuff. But for now, I like it. It's not too bad. So let's go to the next thing. So the next thing is updating the UI file on the website. This is actually the code that was written when we were dragging and dropping everything. And this is why, depending on how you lay out and why if you do some of those tricks I was showing you, you can actually have a lot smaller code by skipping some of the objects we had to add. You also can make this with just complete like Python or C, but I regularly like using the fancy GUI. It makes my life easier visualizing it, and regularly I don't make mistakes. So let's updated the UI, commit to myself, push it up, and as you can see, we have separated ourselves from master a little bit. I'm going to quickly show you how to merge up master so that you're both at the same page. Regularly you don't want to do that until you're at a release, but just so that you all can advance further if you want to do this on your own time, I'm just going to show you real quick. So we get back here and we go up to branch, merge into current. We can't merge master into us, but if we switch to master and then go merge into current, we can merge ourselves into master. So we click this, it forms that, and then we put push. If there's a conflict, you'll hear about it, and I'll show you. Hopefully I'll have one and I'll show you how to fix that. If I don't, there's many different ways of fixing it. Regularly you're just looking for a bit of text that's like greater arrow, greater arrow, greater arrow, head, then a little bit lower it will be like less arrow, less arrow, less arrow, and then whoever is merge conflict you have, and then greater arrow, greater arrow, greater arrow, and then whatever merge conflict you have there. So I haven't hit refresh yet, just to show you all what it did look like, and now when we hit refresh, there you go, Master and I have merged up, and we are done for this video. So please leave in the comments below if you want to add any features to our lovely little cook timer right here. If you don't, then leave in the comments below if you have any other interests you want to add, or if you want to see the continuous of this series. See you for now. Bye.